Damn, someone ought to help Franny. She's looking a little unwell. Welcome back, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags, to the Super Not Funny Show Reviews. I am Jen Thépuppét, your friendly neighborhood fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture. Today, we're going to be reviewing the final episode of The Stand from CBS All Access, and that is titled The Circle Closes. Was it good? Was it bad? And should you be watching? Let's find out, because I have opinions. When it comes to apocalyptic literature and narrative and whatever, there's a certain quote that people like to throw out, and it's actually really appropriate here. And it goes, "This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper." And let me just say, that pretty much sums up probably most of this show, but in particular, this 9th episode. Can you build an entire episode around a denouement? That was my question and my concern going into this episode. Stephen King certainly tries to, and like J.R.R. Tolkien's The Scouring of the Shire at the end of Return of the King, what we get is a largely forgettable bit of melodrama that feels awkward and unnecessary, and in this case, maybe even a little apologetic. What we don't get is a satisfying ending to what has been a largely interesting, if uneven and maybe controversial, take on The Stand. The show has swung big and whiffed as often as it hit a homer, and by that definition, this is definitely a big miss. I'd wonder where the story could possibly go after literally ending with a bang in episode 8. And The Circle Closes goes, well, really nowhere. Well, sure, Stu and Franny and little Abigail travel thousands of miles and have a pretty harrowing experience. Franny has to make a choice between good and evil, life and death, but there's no doubt about the way she's going to fall. It maybe would have landed better if Stu and Franny were characters that I was more invested in, but that actually is something that this show failed to do, make me care a whole lot about them and what they're going through. Well, it wasn't all bad in this episode. There's no denying that Flag's shenanigans and what he's up to, they're interesting and could lead to more interesting things in the future. The implications about the young girl and who she is and how she's able to perform her miracles, they're also intriguing and worth some discussion. We're not going to, because this is the last episode and there's no possibility of a sequel, so introducing these is like a huge waste. I think this is further proof that Stephen King probably shouldn't be the one adapting his work to screen. With George Lucas before him, he kind of uses this episode to address issues people have had with The Stand for the last 40 years. And, it feels like it. It feels like a retcon or a fix or what have you. Rather than fixing the sidelining of Franny and the actual story that we've seen up until this point, he just crams all of her, quote, stand into 30 minutes of the coda, when it's clear the stakes are pretty insignificant. I really wish he could have figured out a way to have made this happen in a way that not just made sense to the story, even if he changed the story around. I don't mind that so much if there's some additions, some rearranging of things, just to make Franny more significant, to make this stand of hers not be at the tail end where it's pretty clear it's just tacked on. So, like I said, there was some interesting things happening in here. There was some drama. I'm not going to deny some of the things that happened, but it really felt like you knew what was going to happen. So the drama was pretty hollow. And even when it was trying to be compelling, I never felt there was any significant danger. There was some cool stuff, I admit, but largely forgettable. Overall, I was pretty meh on this episode. Meh. That's being charitable. It's pretty meh. It's watchable and it's sometimes interesting, and it overall feels like what it is: a mostly forgettable and inconsequential secondary ending. It probably would have been better trimmed down to a half hour and appended to the previous episode, or better yet, not done at all. You watch it if you've made it this far, but I think the series improves if you'd actually skip this episode. It's an underwhelming finish to a pretty controversial adaptation, and considering the controversy around it, that I think smart people should have been able to anticipate. They should have worked hard to make this ending land so much better. Just a lost opportunity here, and it's pretty underwhelming. So those are my spoiler-free impressions of The Stand episode 9, The Circle Closes. What did you think about what I had to say? And maybe you have something different to say about it. I don't know. Why don't you leave me a comment down below, or you can hit me up, supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com or at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. I'd love to hear your thoughts. With that out of the way, those are my spoiler-free. If you don't want to be spoiled about this episode, you might want to get the heck out of here. All right. We'll see you next time. And before you leave, maybe hit a like or hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We'd appreciate it. All right. Are they gone? All right. Spoiler time. Let's get into these spoilers. They're pretty quick, actually. Not a whole lot this week. It's the end of it, so who gives a damn about spoilers? But we're going to do it anyway because I had some notes. There are some things they did kind of cool in here, but most of it was just exposition and pontificating, wondering about things. Like Franny says, as she notes people getting guns and stuff like that, police, we're just rebuilding everything we had before, which I think is a good observation. And I think, in a way, Flag wasn't 100% wrong about what he was talking about. He's just executing his stupid-ass plans wrong and for a selfish reason. But it's true. What's different? Ask yourself, will the world be any different if we just rebuild the same world we had before? Eventually, is there going to be a Captain Trips 2 in like 2,000 years or something like that when we get the population back up to 7 billion? I think there's a fair point to be made here. It's nice that they addressed immunity in this future. I guess this future with Captain Trips as just a part of the environment, I suppose you could say. And apparently immunity is genetic and passed down from people to people. This also makes me wonder, like, is it actually genetic? We still don't know, but apparently 2 parents that are immune have an immune child. What's weird is that in the book, though, that wasn't entirely certain. Yes, Abigail gets Captain Trips and then survives it, so I guess having one immune parent makes you able to have it and then live. That part should have been harrowing, but again, I mean, did we really feel like there was any danger? That's the biggest problem with this particular, not just because I knew about the story. I just never felt like anyone was in any real danger. Not in this episode. I wonder, do the survivors still have dreams and visions since Flag is still alive and well and out there? It really kind of bugged me that in this denouement and the ending and the coda, Stu and Tom, Stu's already been sidelined anyway. Tom sidelined a lot too, but we don't get much of it. They're gone for months, missing, presumed dead. They show up and everyone acts like, oh, there's Stu and Tom. I saw them last week. It's crazy. What's going on there? The smiley face button, love that thing. Wish there was more of it, but we knew. I speculated, and I figured Flag wasn't really dead. He just disappeared. And when he shows up on, later, no shit, surprise, he's around still acting up. They, Stu and Fran, they decided to go on this road trip. How stupid was this fucking road trip? I get it. They're like, oh, fuck civilization. People who grew up in civilization are like, oh, this bothers me. There's so many people coming together. Everything's a risk. Therefore that's somehow a good reason to do something stupid and risky that could get you killed. Dumb. I wondered, I wondered going into this, how is there a field of green corn in a field that hadn't been planted in a year? This actually makes me wonder about actually that entire little sequence with, I guess a 11-year-old Abigail. Is there a time rift here? Is this a Dark Tower thing? How is she there and actually dead? Is she from the future? Is this whole little town, or maybe not even, I don't want to say town, maybe this farm is time shifted or something, because that would explain why there's green corn there when there shouldn't be fields of green corn that were planted. But I did like the whole farm thing, and it was a nod to the book and what Hemingford Home was supposed to be. Not a rest home, not an old person's home, but an actual town where Mother Abigail lived. I did like that they revealed, because they've been showing that stupid baby doll in the credits for the entire season. So now we know what that represents and everything, and who it was supposed to represent. I'd have to say this episode was weird in that it was boring and stupid and useless until Franny and Stu got separated, and then you knew, oh shit, some stuff. They let you know, oh shit, some stuff's about to happen, and then the dread and suspense that we've been feeling the entire show, all season, finally showed up. That it's I figured the whale, that's like the Chekhov's gun of this episode. It was pretty clear Franny was going to fall down that stupid well. I mean, it was a given. And all I could think was, I'm just like, you're fucking stupid. Why would you, you're in a place where no one can come save you. You're just going to fuck around with the whale like that. What is wrong with you? But I also, on that same note, this is, again, a reference to the novel where Stephen King, in the unabridged version, let people know about, after the first die-off from Captain Trips, there was a second wave of deaths from people dying of just mundane, stupid things like appendicitis or falling down a well or blowing yourself up on accident trying to fuck around with a generator. So I did like that particular aspect of it. As I noted, Flag only disappeared, but why is he only haunting Franny? I mean, I guess this guy's got angles. He wants a spy or something. What is this guy's deal? Just why does he give so much of a fuck about Franny and the people in North America? There are like so many survivors all around the world. Why would you care about them? Fuck those guys. Like, if you want a kingdom, go fuck around in China or something. Statistically speaking, there's so many people in China. There had to have been millions of people left in China. Just why are you wasting your time? It's just so stupid. Like, that's another thing about this series. Flag has been pretty stupid in this whole show. Pretty stupid. On that note, why take over a native tribe? Maybe because it's easier to get their worship. I do like that we found out, and I said this last episode, he wants to be worshipped because he gets power from it. He clearly gets power from people worshiping him. So, but he goes to the most primitive people who won't question his shit. So, I guess maybe he learned his lesson in New Vegas. I don't know. He did get much weaker in that shorter span of time when they were trying to execute Larry and Ray. The whole Flag and Franny thing, it's an obvious, like, on the nose allusion to the serpent and Eve. And like, when I say on the nose, hard on the nose, about, he's literally like, oh, if I'll do this for you if you do this for me, and also Franny is a newborn mom and all this. It's crazy. It's clearly an allusion to that. Except in this case, she rejects the snake and she's like, "Get thee behind me, you fucking bastard." That should have been a cool line. It just was a little cheesy to me. I wonder about what's going on with Mother A. This is what frustrates me about this damn show. Why throw this shit out here? Why throw out, oh, Flag's still alive. He's, in 10, 20, 100 years, he's going to come back and he's going to be a problem again. I mean, okay, cool, I guess. What the fuck's the point? Or Mother Abigail is this a rip in time? What was she? Did she just force project herself? She a force ghost, an alternate reality? Who knows? Who knows? Why would you throw that in at the end when you're not going to do anything with it? I hate them doing that. Okay. I think I've run my course on this. I'm really disappointed in this episode. I wish they could have done better. Stephen King, do better in the future. In fact, don't do better. Just write some notes and have someone else execute it, because I did not. This episode wasn't good. Let's just call it. It had some cool stuff, wasn't good. So, all right, I've said enough. Running off for 18 minutes. That's all of my spoiler-free thoughts. If you had a comment, complaint, anyway, you just want to shoot me a line, you know what to do. Hit me up down in the comments. supernotfunnyshow@gmail.com, at supernotfunnys1 on Twitter. Let's chop it up. Let's talk about this show. And I do want to let you guys know that's right, Jen and I, we are going to be doing a season review / discussion of The Stand. And so you guys want to come back and check that out. It's going to be on the next Super Not Funny show. And that'll be fun. So come check us out. Either way, I have been Jen Thépuppét, your resident Fabricant and commenter extraordinaire on all things pop culture, and reviewing The Stand Episode 9. Join us back here again for another Super Not Funny show reviews. We're going to be covering the coolest, the latest, and all of the other pop culture stuff that you love. We'll check you on the other side of the thread, all you Fabricans and Fleshbags. Till then, peace.